The Great Gatsby, Chapter 6. One morning, a young reporter from New York came to Gatsby's house. He asked Gatsby if he wanted to say anything. Say something about what? Gatsby asked politely. Well, do you have any message for the public? The reporter replied. After 5 minutes of confusion, it turned out the reporter had heard Gatsby's name at work. He didn't know exactly why, but he was curious. It was his day off, and he had come to see Gatsby for a story. It was just a guess, but the reporter's feeling was right. Many people had talked about Gatsby. They went to his parties and then made up stories about him. His name was becoming more and more famous. Some people said crazy things, like he had a secret tunnel to Canada. Others said he didn't live in a house, but on a boat that looked like a house and moved around Long Island secretly. It's hard to say why these strange stories made James Gatz from North Dakota happy. Yes, James Gatz was Gatsby's real name. He changed it when he was 17. He changed it when he was 17. One day he saw a big yacht, a fancy boat, on Lake Superior. The boat belonged to Dan Cody. That day, James was walking on the beach in old clothes. But when he saw the yacht, he changed. He borrowed a small boat, rowed out to the big yacht, and told Cody that a strong wind could break the yacht in half. I think James had already chosen the name J. Gatsby before that day. His parents were poor farmers, and Gatsby didn't want to be like them. In his mind, he created a new version of himself, a better, richer man. He wanted to be great and do something important. So, he became J. Gatsby and stayed loyal to that dream for the rest of his life. Before meeting Cody, Gatsby worked hard for over a year. He dug for clams and fished for salmon. He did any job that gave him food and a place to sleep. His body got strong from working outside. He met women when he was young. They gave him attention, but he didn't respect them. He thought young girls were too innocent and others were too emotional. He didn't really care about their feelings. Gatsby only thought about himself. But at night, Gatsby dreamed big dreams. He imagined a beautiful world full of riches and bright lights. While he lay in bed, his dreams filled his mind. His clothes were on the floor, the moonlight shining on them. He often fell asleep thinking about amazing things. These dreams helped him escape from the boring real world. They gave him hope and made life feel magical. Gatsby wanted a big future. A few months before he met Cody, he went to a small college called St. Olaf's in Minnesota. But he stayed only 2 weeks. He hated working as a janitor to pay for school, and he didn't feel like the college cared about his dreams. So he left and went back to Lake Superior. That's where he met Dan Cody. Cody was about 50 years old. He had made a lot of money from silver and gold mines in places like Nevada and the Yukon. Now he was rich, many times a millionaire. But he was also getting weak in his mind, and many women tried to take his money. One woman, Ella Kay, was a reporter. People said she took control of Cody and got him to travel on his yacht. That story was big news in 1902. Cody had been sailing for 5 years when he met James Gatz in Little Girl Bay. To young Gatsby, Cody's yacht was beautiful and magical. It showed him a life he wanted. Gatsby probably smiled. He had learned that people liked him when he smiled. Cody asked him some questions and learned that Gatsby was smart and had big dreams. Soon, Cody took Gatsby with him to the city of Duluth and bought him new clothes. A blue coat, 6 white pants, and a yachting cap. When Cody's yacht sailed to the West Indies and the Barbary Coast, Gatsby went too. Gatsby worked many jobs on the yacht. Sometimes he was a helper, a sailor, a manager, a secretary, even a guard. Cody trusted Gatsby more and more, especially because Cody knew he did foolish things when he drank too much. Gatsby helped him stay out of trouble. Gatsby stayed with Cody for 5 years. They traveled around the world 3 times. The job could have lasted longer, but one night in Boston, Ella Kay came on board. A week later, Cody died suddenly. I remember seeing a picture of Cody in Gatsby's room. He looked like a strong man with a hard face. He was one of those wild, rich men who lived without rules. He drank a lot and had wild parties. Because of Cody, Gatsby learned not to drink much. Sometimes, at Gatsby's own parties, women would pour champagne on his hair. But Gatsby usually didn't drink. Cody left Gatsby some money, $25,000. But Gatsby never got it. He didn't understand the legal trick that took it away from him. In the end, Ella Kay got all of Cody's money. Still, Gatsby got something better. An education about rich people and the life he wanted. The dream of Jay Gatsby was now more real. He had become the man he wanted to be. Gatsby told me this story much later. I'm writing it here to stop the crazy rumors people were saying about his past. Most of them were completely false. When Gatsby told me the truth, I was very confused. At that time, I didn't know what to believe about him. I also didn't see Gatsby for a few weeks. I was in New York, spending time with Jordan and trying to be friendly with her old aunt. One Sunday afternoon, I finally went to Gatsby's house. I had only been there for 2 minutes when someone brought Tom Buchanan in for a drink. I was surprised to see him, but honestly, it was strange it hadn't happened earlier. Tom came with 2 other people, a man named Mr. Sloan and a pretty woman in brown riding clothes. She had visited Gatsby's house before. "I'm very happy to see you," Gatsby said, standing on his porch. "I'm glad you stopped by." But they didn't really care. "Please sit down. Have a cigarette or a cigar," Gatsby said. He walked around, ringing bells. "I'll bring you something to drink." Gatsby was clearly nervous because Tom was there. Still, he wanted to be polite and offer them something. He knew they didn't come to be friendly. They just wanted free drinks. "Mister," Sloan said he didn't want anything. "Lemonade? Champagne?" Gatsby asked. "No, thank you," they replied. "Did you enjoy your horse ride?" Gatsby asked. "Yes. The roads are good here. I guess the cars make it harder." "Yeah," one of them replied. Then Gatsby suddenly turned to Tom and said, "I think we've met before, Mr. Buchanan." "Oh, yes," Tom said. He was polite, but didn't seem to remember. "I remember now. It was about 2 weeks ago," Gatsby said. "That's right. You were with Nick." "I know your wife," Gatsby said, a little too strongly. "Is that so?" Tom answered. Then he turned to me and asked, "You live around here, Nick?" "Yes, next door." "That's so, mister?" Sloan didn't say anything. He just sat back in his chair, looking proud. The woman was also quiet until she had 2 drinks. Then she became friendly. "We'll come to your next party, Mr. Gatsby," she said. "Would that be okay?" "Of course. I'd be happy to have you," Gatsby replied. "Very nice," Mr. Sloan said, without smiling. "Well, we should go home." "Please don't leave yet," Gatsby said. He was calmer now. He wanted to spend more time with Tom. "Why don't you stay for dinner? Some other guests from New York might come." The woman smiled. "You should come have dinner with me. Both of you." She meant Gatsby and me. Mr. Sloan stood up. "Let's go," he said to her, not to us. "I mean it," she said. "I'd really like you to come. There's lots of room." Gatsby looked at me. He wanted to go, but he didn't see that Mr. Sloan didn't want him there. "I can't come," I said. "You should come," she said again, looking only at Gatsby. Mr. Sloan whispered something in her ear. "We'll be back early if we leave now," she said loudly. "I don't have a horse," Gatsby said. "I used to ride in the army, but I never bought one. I'll drive my car and follow you. Please wait a moment." He went inside. The rest of us walked outside to the porch. Mr. Sloan and the woman started talking in low voices. "My God, I think Gatsby's really coming," said Tom. "Doesn't he know she doesn't want him?" "She said she does want him," I replied. "She has a big dinner party. He won't know anyone there." Tom frowned. "I don't know where he met Daisy. I may be old-fashioned, but women go out too much these days. They meet all kinds of strange people." Then Mr. Sloan and the woman got on their horses. "Come on," Mr. Sloan said to Tom. "We're late. We have to go." Then he looked at me and added, "Tell Gatsby we couldn't wait." Tom and I shook hands. The others gave short, cold nods. They rode off quickly and disappeared into the trees. Just then, Gatsby came out the front door with his hat and coat. Tom seemed worried that Daisy was spending too much time alone. So the next Saturday night, he came with her to Gatsby's party. Maybe that's why the party felt different. I remember it clearly. It didn't feel like the other parties Gatsby had in the summer. The same kind of people were there. There was still lots of champagne. The music and noise were still loud and colorful. But something felt wrong. There was an uncomfortable feeling in the air, a kind of tension. Maybe I had just gotten used to it all. Maybe I had accepted West Egg as its own strange world, full of rich people who didn't care what others thought. But now I saw the party through Daisy's eyes, and everything felt different. It's always sad to look at something with fresh eyes, especially something you've tried so hard to get used to. Tom and Daisy arrived just before sunset. As we walked through the crowd of guests, Daisy's voice was soft and playful. "These parties are so exciting," she whispered. "If you want to kiss me during the evening, Nick, just tell me. I'll make it happen. Just say my name, or show me a green card. I'm giving those out tonight." "Look around," Gatsby said. "I am looking. I'm having a wonderful, you must recognize some famous people." Tom looked around, his eyes proud and unfriendly. "We don't go out much," he said. "Actually, I don't know anyone here." "Maybe you know her," Gatsby said, pointing to a very beautiful woman sitting under a white tree. She looked like a flower and almost not real, like a movie star. Tom and Daisy stared at her in surprise. It was strange to suddenly see someone they had only seen in movies. "She's beautiful," said Daisy. "The man next to her is her director," said Gatsby. Then Gatsby introduced them to several people. "This is Mrs. Buchanan." And Mr. Buchanan, after a short pause, Gatsby added, "the polo player." "Oh no," Tom said quickly. "I'm not a polo player." But Gatsby seemed to like the idea, so for the rest of the night, Tom was called the polo player. "I've never seen so many famous people," said Daisy. "I like that man. What was his name? The one with the blue nose?" Gatsby told her his name and said he was a small movie producer. "Well, I liked him anyway," she said. "I don't really want to be called the polo player," said Tom with a fake smile. "I'd rather just watch all these people quietly." Daisy and Gatsby danced together. I was surprised. Gatsby danced very well. I had never seen him dance before. After that, they walked over to my house and sat on the steps for about 30 minutes. Daisy asked me to stay in the garden and keep an eye on things. "In case there's a fire or flood," she joked, "or anything crazy." Later, Tom came back while we were getting ready to eat. "Mind if I eat with those people over there?" he asked. "One guy is telling funny jokes." "Sure, go ahead," said Daisy cheerfully. "And if you want to get any phone numbers, here's my little gold pencil." After a while, she looked around and pointed to a girl nearby. "She's not very classy," Daisy said, "but she's pretty." I knew then that Daisy wasn't really enjoying the party, except for the short time she was alone with Gatsby. We sat at a table where most people were a little drunk. That was my fault. Gatsby had gone to take a phone call, and I had already spent time with this group 2 weeks earlier. Back then, they made me laugh. Now, they just seemed annoying. "How are you feeling, Miss Baedeker?" someone asked. Miss Baedeker was trying to lean on my shoulder, but she was too drunk. When she heard her name, she sat up and opened her eyes. "What?" A large, sleepy woman nearby answered for her. She had been trying to get Daisy to come play golf the next day. "Oh, she's fine." After 5 or 6 cocktails, she always starts screaming. "I keep telling her to stop drinking so much." "I do stop drinking," said Miss Baedeker weakly. "We heard you shouting," said someone else. "So I said to Dr. Civet, somebody needs help." "She's grateful, I'm sure," said another woman coldly. "But you made her dress all wet when you put her head in the pool." "I hate it when someone pushes my head in the water," mumbled Miss Baedeker. "One time in New Jersey, they almost drowned me." "Then you really should stop drinking," said Dr. Civet. "Speak for yourself," shouted Miss Baedeker. "Your hands shake." "I wouldn't let you operate on me." That's what the party was like. The last thing I remember clearly was standing with Daisy. We were watching the movie director and the famous actress. They were still sitting under the white tree. Their faces were almost touching, with only a small ray of moonlight between them. I thought he had been slowly moving closer to her all night. And right then, as I watched, He leaned in and kissed her cheek. "I like her," said Daisy. "I think she's lovely." But the rest of the night upset Daisy. And this time, it wasn't about anything someone said, it was how she felt. She was shocked by West Egg, this strange place full of new money. It was loud, wild, and very different from the quiet, rich world she was used to. She didn't understand it, and that scared her. She didn't like how quickly people here became rich, or how empty their lives seemed. Later, we all sat on the steps of Gatsby's house while they waited for their car. It was dark in front of the house, except for the bright light from the doorway. Sometimes, I saw shadows moving behind the windows, people getting ready to go home. Then Tom asked, "Who is this Gatsby anyway? Is he a big bootlegger? Where did you hear that?" I asked. "I didn't hear it. I just guessed. A lot of these new rich people are selling illegal alcohol." "That's not Gatsby," I said firmly. Tom was quiet for a moment. We heard his shoes crunching on the gravel. "Well, he sure worked hard to get all these strange people here." A breeze moved the soft fur on Daisy's collar. "At least these people are more interesting than the ones we know," she said, trying to be positive. "You didn't look very interested." "Well, I was." Tom laughed and looked at me. "Did you see Daisy's face when that girl asked her if she wanted to take a cold shower?" Daisy started singing softly with the music. Her voice was low and smooth, and she made every word sound special. When the song got louder, her voice rose too, warm and full of emotion. She sounded magical. "Lots of people come to these parties without an invitation," Daisy said suddenly. "That girl didn't get invited. People just show up, and Gatsby is too polite to say no." "I want to know who Gatsby really is and what he does," Tom said. "I think I'll find out." "I can tell you," Daisy said. "He owned some drugstores. He built them himself." Then their car finally came up the driveway. "Good night, Nick," Daisy said. She looked at the top of the steps, where the song 3 o'clock in the morning was playing from inside. Gatsby's parties were wild and casual. But to Daisy, they also had something romantic, something her own life didn't have. Maybe that music made her want to go back inside. Maybe she thought something magical might still happen. Maybe a perfect guest would arrive. A beautiful young girl who would look at Gatsby in a new way and erase the 5 long years he had waited for Daisy. I stayed at the party until late. Gatsby asked me to wait for him, so I stayed in the garden. I waited until a group of people came out of the water after a late-night swim, cold but happy. I waited until all the lights in the guest rooms turned off. Finally, Gatsby came down the steps. His face looked tight and tired, and his eyes were shining. "She didn't like it," he said right away. Of course she did. "No," he said. "She didn't have a good time." He said nothing else, but I could tell he was very upset. "I feel far away from her," he said. "It's hard for her to understand." "You mean about the dancing?" "The dancing?" He waved his hand like that wasn't important. "Old sport, the dancing doesn't matter." What Gatsby really wanted was for Daisy to go to Tom and say, "I never loved you." If she said that, it would erase the last 4 years. Then Gatsby and Daisy could make plans. One plan was to go back to Louisville and get married from her house. just like they had always dreamed 5 years ago. But she doesn't understand, he said. She used to. We could sit for hours and talk. He stopped and walked back and forth through the messy garden, fruit peels, party decorations, and crushed flowers on the ground. I wouldn't ask too much of her, I said carefully. You can't repeat the past. Can't repeat the past? Gatsby repeated in shock. Of course you can. He looked around wildly, like the past was still hiding somewhere in the shadows of his house. And he could reach out and grab it. I'm going to fix everything, he said, nodding. She'll see. Gatsby talked a lot about the past. I understood that he was trying to get something back, maybe not just Daisy, but something about himself. Ever since he met her, his life had felt mixed up. He believed that if he could go back to the beginning and live it all again, step by step, he would find what he had lost. 5 years ago, one autumn night, Gatsby and Daisy were walking down a street. The leaves were falling. They came to a place with no trees, and the sidewalk was white in the moonlight. They stopped and turned to face each other. The air was cool and full of energy, like something special could happen. The houses were quiet, and the stars seemed alive. Gatsby looked at the sidewalk. To him, the sidewalk blocks looked like steps leading up to a secret world above the trees. He felt that if he climbed them, if he climbed alone, he would reach a place full of wonder and magic. His heart beat faster and faster as Daisy's white face came close to his. He knew that when he kissed her, his dreams would become part of her life. And after that, he would never feel the same again. So he waited for just one more moment, listening to a sound in his heart like a note from a star. Then he kissed her. And in that kiss, she became like a flower blooming just for him. His dream had come true. While he was talking, I felt something familiar, like a song I had forgotten long ago. A few words came to my lips, but I couldn't say them. It was like something important almost came back to me, but then it was gone forever,